Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Max Ketchum here. Rivals 2 came out about a month ago now. Been playing a good amount, really digging the game. Really enjoy all the fake melees, so to speak, the easy melee clones, platform fighters with high hit stun and fast movement and all that fun stuff. And this is, I think, the cleanest version of that yet. I've played a lot of NASB and HDR and PM and all the games like that, Slap City, etc., right? And this just feels like the nicest one in really all regards, aesthetically, gameplay wise, like character roster wise. I think this game is fire, and a lot of people have gotten into it from various different platform fighting communities, but I figured that I would take the opportunity now, while the game is still young, to make a guide for who I think is the least advantaged group of players coming into this game, which is ultimate players. So if you played Melee or PM, even NASB and Slap, you're going to be very familiar with the way that games like this work, right? And just how they feel in general, the options that you have, the mechanics, etc. Whereas there's a lot of differences from like Brawl, Smash 4, and Ultimate compared to all these other games that have kind of followed in Melee's footsteps. So I haven't seen a guide like this that's kind of tailored toward modern Smash players. And I figured, as someone who has played those games as well, I would use my expertise to help you guys out. So, I've had a couple friends get into the game who are, mainly Ultimate players, and their history is with those games, right? So, I've given a lot of them the same spiel or like same advice in learning the game. So this, is also aimed at some of those friends particularly, but I figure it could benefit everybody. So we're going to sit down and learn some things about this game that you might not know. If you have played Melee or PM or Rivals 1 or really any of the games that aren't Brawl, Smash 4, and Ultimate, there's not going to be too much here for you. And I will let you know right now that there's no editing. I can't be bothered, honestly, but you can just kind of leave this on like a podcast, or if you want to look at a visual example of anything, then, look at your screen when this is happening. But yeah, all right, let's get right into it. No more need for an intro. We're going to start with movement. So I'm just going to go through a bunch of the key differences from Ultimate into this game. So number one, this is really in no order of priority, but one major difference is that you can shield out of your initial dash. In all the Smash games since Brawl, you've not been able to do this. So you can see I'm initiating dash, and I can immediately shield. In Ultimate, for example, you will have to enter or complete your full initial dash animation, and then you can shield. And this really hurts some characters like Captain Falcon, right? Who have a really long initial dash animation and thus get shut out of block. So I think it's really good because, you just want to move toward your opponent. Like in Ultimate, you'd have to walk in order to do this, but in this game, you can, you don't need that light stick discipline. You can just advance forward and shield, right? However, what I'm doing right there, where I'm like shield unshielding, is actually kind of bad. We'll get into that and why. But yeah, it's just a really nice thing to not have to walk in order to have access to your shield immediately. So another thing about running in this game, once you've entered your full run, not your initial dash, which is just this, right? When you've entered your full run, if you crouch, you can do any action. So that's how you do running tilts in this game. That's how you do running jab. You just press and let go. I'm getting down tilt a bunch because I'm trash, lol. But this also lets you smash, etc. And yeah, I see a lot of Ultimate players think that they have to jump or shield or do like, some specific action out of run like you did in Brawl and Smash 4. Like Ultimate made it so if you just let go of your stick while you're running, you can do it till... Actually, you might even be able to do that in this game. Huh. Yeah, actually you can just let go of your stick. I'm used to Melee where you have to crouch, but, like, it can be a little tough to let go. So crouching can be a little shortcut to be able to do this faster, if that works for you. Then the dash dance in this game. So it is nice and wide, like you see I'm still not entering the skid animation, even when I'm dash dancing super wide like this. In Ultimate, you kind of gotta, like, you know, do this. But in Rivals and, of course, all those other games I just mentioned, you have a much wider window to actually get a dash dance. I'm still probably not even maxing it out, honestly. It goes very far, and it's going to depend on the character. Like, I think Fleets is actually probably one of the shorter ones in the game, but you see, like, I have to dash really far to even enter the skid animation. Then, alright, let's talk about wave dashing, which is, I think, really the hallmark of games like this, right? Compared to Ultimate and stuff. So how and why to use wave dashing, right? First of all, if you want to learn how to wave dash, I'll teach you in 1 second. You just jump and then shield immediately. And you have to be holding left, right, or like down, left, down, right to get it. If you hold straight horizontal, you will get a half distance wave dash in this game. Actually, you can, like, you know, pick any angle and wave dash that exact distance, which makes it really useful for micro spacing. I mostly just full distance wave dash all the time because I'm trying to go far, but there are definitely uses for, you know, reduced distance wave dashes. So when and why would you want to do this? Well, for one, we were just talking about dash dancing, right? Which I'm sure everyone is kind of aware of the applications of this. You get to back up while advancing forward and kind of have some control over how far you go, right? However, you can only do it out of your initial dash. But wave dashing, because it comes from a jump, can be done at any point in your ground movement, whether that's initial dash or your full run. So say I'm like dash dancing and then I want to move a lot forward, but then I still want to go back, right? So I'll enter my full run and then I'll wave dash back. Like that, right? So it just kind of allows you to further modify your micro spacing on the ground and just be where you want to be, right? So that's like the primary use for it. Then you can also do moves directly out of it, right? Like we were talking about before. You have to enter your full run in order to do a tilt, but you can't do it out of your initial dash. You'll get dash tack, right? So if you wave dash, you can do said move immediately. So it's good to like slide in or out while doing ground normals. And that can be very useful. You can also wave dash out of shield, which is super important. So I don't know how to like mess with the training dummies in this game, but pretend this Crag just forward smash my shield, right? For me to drop my shield and then run forward costs, I think, 10 frames in this game to drop your shield. A wave dash is 10 frames plus your jump squat, because air dodge has 10 frames of landing lag. At least I'm pretty sure it does in this game, like it does in Melee. So you actually save time and travel much faster if you wave dash out of your shield. And the way I do it is kind of scuffed because I'm a single trigger wave dash out of shielder. But you can actually drop your shield and cancel the shield release frames with jump, right? So if you're like me and you're lazy, you can just let go of shield and then wave dash. But if you have two buttons to shield with, this is much easier. Either way, yeah, wave dash out of shield, super useful. And it's not just to punish, right? Because, you know, you want to block the move, slide forward during that frame gap that would normally be spent in place, just dropping your shield. And then you can get much closer to the opponent. But you can also do it to back off from shield pressure. So say someone hits your shield with something safe, you can just wave dash backwards out of shield to avoid the situation, right? Which, again, you're moving during that 10 frame window. It's more like 13 in this, you know, because of the jump squat frames you have to go through. But it allows you to escape their shield pressure during that time frame instead of just being in place, dropping your shield and then running away. Super important, again, both to the punish game and to getting out of pressure. And then, of course, there's also wave landing, right? So, wow, I'm trash. You can wave land onto platforms or onto the stage. Right? So this is super useful for a variety of reasons. One is, you know, you can kind of like alter where you're going to be when you're landing. Like, you can do an empty land, wave land, to just, like, back up, maybe make them whiff a move, and then pop it and hit them. You can snap to platforms, right? Without having to rise and fall. So if I full hop, I gotta come down after that, right? But I can just wave land and immediately be there. So this is particularly useful for, like, platform tech chasing or comboing on platforms. Wow, I keep missing it because I never do it out of full hop. I usually jump, double jump. But yeah, gives you a slide, of course, but you can wave land straight down if you don't want to go anywhere. You can go at a steeper angle. And don't mind the technical errors, guys. It's very hard to talk and explain it, or, you know, demonstrate and explain it at the same time. But yeah, you can go at a diagonal if you want, like, a short wave land. You can go full horizontal if you want a big slidey wave land. Or you can go straight down if you don't want to move at all. But basically, this is a lot faster than rising and falling to the platform, and that's going to be super important in your platform pressure game. You can, of course, also wave land off of platforms. So that's useful here for stuff like this. You know, you can get a little pressure going. Or if your opponent is below you, you can get real tricky with the way that you're pressuring them. You can also not swing immediately, or go back to the platform and do it a couple times, you know. There's a lot of applications for this. You'll kind of figure it out as you go, but just something to be aware of. Then, let's see. Okay, let's get into shield dropping as well. So, one thing about Ultimate particularly, Smash 4 and Brawl have shield dropping, but Ultimate does not. So, shield dropping basically makes it very unsafe to attack someone's shield while they're on a platform. And a lot of people will sit on the platform and shield, waiting for you to swing on their shield so they can punish you with the shield drop aerial. First of all, to beat this, you just do what I just explained with the waveland grab, right? If they're shield camping on platform, just get them by surprise. You'll be on the platform very quickly and you can blow that up. But when you are shielding on the platform and you want to shield drop, in this game it's very easy. You can just soft press down. Any soft press down that's not hard enough to give you a spot dodge will allow you to shield drop. There are also some shortcuts to it. One is called the axe method. So the axe method is useful out of runs and wavelands and full drifts when you're landing, right? So basically the gist of it is that, say I waveland onto this platform, right? I went to the right. I never stop holding right on my controller, on my control stick, right? So I'm going to waveland to the right. I'm holding right, and I'm holding shield. And then you just kind of roll your stick gently, or quickly even, from right to down right, and you will shield drop. You can even do it during the waveland landing lag. Your shield doesn't even have to come up, but you can do it when your shield is up as well. You can do the same thing, run shield and then roll. This also gives you an angled shield drop. If you press down left or down right, you will come out of your shield drop at a slight angle, which can be very useful for, like, spacing your aerials or, like, you know, just getting to where you want to be. But yeah, the axe method makes things a lot easier. Do note that, you know, you can't do it straight up from being on the platform in a neutral state, because you'll have to roll first. Basically, you're shutting off roll by already having left or right fully extended on your control stick. And then because that option is disabled, when you roll to down right or down left, the game can only read it as a shield drop because you're not full pressing down, which would give you spot dodge. Shield dropping is super, super, super useful. If someone wants to do, like, say, an up tilt onto the platform, unless it's like an insanely low lag up tilt or something, this will get blown up. My Discord lol. But yeah, it's super useful to punish people pressuring you underneath the ledge, or underneath the platform, and you'll find a lot of openings of your own like that. Like, you might normally think, especially if you're an ultimate player, because it's so bad to get stuck on the platform, that, like, pressuring someone's shield on the platform is very rewarding, whether it's with an aerial or a tilt on the ground that reaches, but it's actually better for the defender. So you got to watch out for shield dropping and also exploit it when people are trying to pressure you, right? So if they're attacking higher, you could do like, say, shield drop up air, depending on your character, obviously. And if they're pressuring from underneath, you could do like a shield drop back air, forward air, neutral air, down air, you know, whatever's going to hit them. Basically just swing where it's going to hit. And the input to do this is not very tricky in this game. It's literally just a soft press down. It'll take a little bit of getting used to. I noticed, you know, a lot of people are not good at soft pressing their stick. But you'll get used to it for sure. It's like doing an up tilt in Melee without tap jumping, right? Like same level of difficulty, I'd say. Not really that hard. And if it's frustrating at first, just keep practicing, getting used to it. The number one tip I would give anybody is just don't be tense. You gotta gingerly press that soft down. You know what I'm saying? And then if you have like hyperextension problems, like, you know, you're not good at soft stick presses and you need that like full extension of your finger, then the axe method will help you a lot because your thumb is hyperextended to be fully pressing left or right, and then you just roll. Okay. All right, let's talk about hit falling. So hit falling is unique to Rivals. Whoops. I got to jump cancel grab. Okay, so hit falling is when you... Let me do it on Crag. It'll be the most apparent on him. Get out of here, Rana. So when you hit somebody while rising with an aerial, you're still able to fast fall. In Smash, you can only ever fast fall once you've reached the peak of your ascent. But in Rivals, because of hit falling, you're allowed to fast fall at any point in your air time. You have to hit them. You can't hit a shield. But it is extremely useful for getting maximum frame advantage out of your aerials. And again, I'm sorry that a lot of the demonstrations of this are poor. I'm looking at two screens. I'm trying to talk. And I'm not editing this video because I'm not good at that shit. So, pardon some scuffed examples. I promise my execution is a little better in a normal game. But anyway, why would you want to hit fall and when would you want to hit? So, basically, when you do aerials in general, right, landing cancels the animation of the move, which is why aerials are so good on shield, why they're so good for combos, etc. Because you don't have to engage with most of the frames on the move. You can cancel it with landing. Hit falling allows you access to that much faster than just like waiting for your character to naturally fall to the ground, even if you're fast falling, right? So there's a lot of combos. I'm sure like everyone has seen the Rano fair, or like nair stuff where he's hit falling as soon as he hits those moves, and then he can get to the ground and become actionable so fast that like more combos become possible. Same thing exists for like every character. For Fleet, it's a little hard. Let me just kill this Crag and maybe I can demonstrate a good hit falling combo. So like my up throw up air, for example, right? The first one I did, like you saw how I hit falled very quickly. He's gonna land on the platform. Like because I get to the ground faster after that first up air, I then get to pop up there and do something else, or like grab when he lands again. Let me kill him one more time, and it'll probably be more apparent. The up throw up air regrab, because I'm doing a rising up air, I wouldn't be able to get to the ground fast normally, but with hit falling I can, and that allows me to find this regrab. Or even like that second fair right there once his percent's a little built up. So hit falling, where and when to use it, very character dependent, but I mean generally it's pretty intuitive, right? Like if you notice that they'll still be in Hitstun, if only you got to the ground a little bit faster, that you could then pop up and hit him again, or like wait for them to fall a little bit. You'll find the times. Raster, I think, is a very good example for that. He can do like up air hip fall, up air hip fall, up air hip fall over and over again, right? And it's only because he's sinking to the ground so quickly right after hitting you that he's able to do combos like that. One little thing I want to put in this video is jump cancel grab. Lol. Okay, so if you don't know what I'm doing, I am jumping and then grabbing immediately. This is the slow version of it. If you do it too slow, you'll get a jump nair, because grab in the air is nair in this game. But if you do it fast enough, you will cancel your jump squat with grab. And that is going to force your character into the standing animation when they're in jump squat. So instead of a dash grab, which is slower, laggier, sometimes doesn't have as good as a hitbox. I don't know in this game who has a better standing grab or dash grab, but in Melee, it's like literally everyone's standing grab is better other than Peach. So basically, this gives you standing grab on the move, which is super useful. Again, it has much less downtime. See, that's a standing grab. That's a dash grab. There's a lot more lag on that. And when do you want to JC grab? Well, if it's anything like Melee, all the time, right? Like, you always would prefer to have your standing grab versus your dash grab. You can even JC pivot grab in this game instead of your normal pivot grab, which is looks to be its own animation. It might just be a turning around dash grab, though. I'm not sure. In Brawl, Smash 4, and Ultimate, characters do have uniquely coded pivot grabs. I'm not sure about in this game. But, like, pivot grabs could be useful to not JC just because they might be, like, active for longer. You know what I'm saying? Like, while you're moving. Either way, JC grab is very useful. It allows you to grab a little bit faster and a little bit less laggy in a big spot. So I personally almost always JC grab. Like, if I get an actual dash grab, it's because I fucked up. And I would recommend, even without like knowing the frame data or hitbox sizes on anything, I would recommend that you also JC grab all the time as well. Especially if you play a tech chase heavy character like Rano off those down throws, you definitely want to JC your grabs. It'll give you a lot more leniency in the window to get it. Okay. Next thing I want to bring up is ledge cancels, which are definitely in Ultimate. Like, I think the most obvious example is Diddy's monkey flip, right? Like, if you do the kick right on the corner of a platform, you'll slide off and cancel all your lag. Fleet can do the same thing with her up B, right? However, every character can ledge cancel every move. So here's like an easy example, if I can actually do it. Let me, yeah, you see right there how I complete the fair and then slide back off stage. So that's useful for Fleet to like re-grab the ledge, and she also touches the floor, so she gets all her invincibility back. You know, all 3 invincible re-grabs. So I can do that off this platform and this platform. You know what I'm saying? I can do it with all my moves. Of course, I'm doing a terrible job demonstrating, but basically all you got to do is just have like a little momentum going that direction, and the game will allow you to keep drifting and slip off the ledge. So ledge canceling, it's a cancel. It cancels the ending lag of your move and allows you to become actionable immediately. So that's good for several reasons, right? You stay on the move. You can put hitboxes out rapid fire, etc., etc. So it's very, very useful. It's a little bit niche. Like, it's not going to be happening all the time, but you want to know how to look out for that. Like, when you notice you're completing a move right by the edge of a platform, you will become actionable immediately. You can do with that as you will based on the situation or the character you play. Then there's a couple more niche options in the game. One of them is Moonwalk. Fleets is not great, but to Moonwalk, basically you draw a half circle with your control stick. So if I'm facing right, I'm going to dash right and then roll my control stick along the bottom to backwards. So like I'm going right, down, left, left, but all in one fluid motion. Some characters, like Zetterburn, for example, get a lot of momentum off of this. Like, you see how I'm kind of slingshotting my backwards jump, right? Like, it transfers momentum over. Oh, that was kind of hot. Ledge cancel off the moonwalk into another back air. That's another way to set up a ledge cancel as well, right? Because you need momentum. So, yeah, moonwalking can be very useful depending on your character. It's also just useful in general. Like, it gives you that quick fade in, fade out. Almost like a run in, wave dash back. Same effect is achieved, and moonwalking is a little bit faster too, because you don't go into that 10 frames of air dodge landing lag. And also when you're moonwalking, you stay facing the same way you were initially moving, which can like in and out, and then do a tilt on the ground as well. You don't even have to jump out of it. Yeah, very fun to do moonwalking in this game. It's also very easy. I would recommend just practicing it. You can apparently also go off the top like do a half circle off the top. Yeah, it does work. I just never would do that personally because in like Melee that would make you tap jump, and that's kind of what I'm used to the input from. Also from like fighting games, half circle back input. But yeah, this is like if you've ever played Marvel 3, it's the same input as Wesker's command grab, for example. Just a half circle back. And I'm pretty sure Ryu has a half circle back move in Street Fighter as well. I don't play him, so I don't know. But yeah, you just press forward and then as quickly as you can, roll the stick all the way along the bottom or top gate to backwards. And you can like do it over and over again, which I'm not that good at, but some people are really good at like repeatedly moonwalking and kind of micro spacing off that. All right. Then there's baby dashing, which is, I know the Rivals 1 players love this because it's in that game. So baby dash is just this. If you press forward or backwards on your control stick for 1 or 2 frames, you will advance forward and not enter any sort of animation. So this is... Look at that. I just went across the entire stage, baby dash up tilting. You can even baby dash dance, which is kind of cute. I think this is, I would say, moderately useful. I believe it's also bufferable, which is why it's so easy to just do it into the tilt over and over again. Because you don't actually have to time it as well as you would raw. But for this, you just very gently flick the stick. Like, I would say your goal is to get your thumb off the stick as quickly as possible. So just do kind of one like sweeping motion where you like barely graze the stick. It's honestly pretty easy to do. It's just, you know, in a high stakes match, if you're like tense and hyperextending your fingers a lot, like you might fuck it up. But yeah, it's not even that difficult. So this is good for like if you need to advance a very small distance forward and do a tilt, right? Because if you do, again, your full dash forward, like an initial dash forward, you will get dash attack. But if you baby dash, you'll inch forward like that and not get dash attack. Like you can get the up tilt or down tilt that you desire, or forward tilt, or smash attack, or whatever the fuck you want, jab. So, baby dashing is definitely useful, but it's niche. It's only for, like, the super, super micro situations. A situation I could see it being useful in is, let's say I'm comboing a fast faller like Krag, and I want to do up throw, up tilt, right? If he DI'd left or right, I would miss him with just standing in place and up tilting. So I would baby dash forward and get the up tilt like at that perfect like slight distance away from him, as opposed to entering my full run and then crouch out of dash up tilt, right? Comboing characters like Krag, Zetter, Clarin, where you just need to move a slight bit forward. That's very useful. And then there's pivoting, which is kind of like exactly like pivoting in Smash, where you initiate a dash and cancel it with turnaround. This is called perfect pivoting in Smash 4, but in Melee and Smash 64, where it's always existed, and Brawl, people just called it pivoting. So basically, think of this as like you're dashing normally, and then instead of dash dancing, you're almost like baby dashing the other way. So quick flick left, quick flick right, and then let go. And I'm fucking it up a whole bunch, of course, because I'm trying to demonstrate to you guys. But basically, think of it as like a backwards baby dash, where like you're still facing the way that you initially started, right? But you're moving backwards. So if I were just baby dash up tilting the opposite way, I'd actually be turned around, right? So in that same scenario where I'm up throwing Krag, picture he DIs in this time, and I want to like back up a little bit and get the up tilt, I would do a pivot to get into that. But you can also do stuff like pivot shield, just for defense. Oh, pivot parry is kind of sexy. I never thought about doing that. Or you could just empty pivot and wait. Pivot and jump, which is kind of like a slingshot and ultimate. But I guess that implies momentum. Either way. Pivoting is quite useful, but also quite niche. It's kind of just like baby dashing, right? Where you're not really looking to do this, like, really even in most games, unless your character has a specific combo route with it. I know, like, Clarin needs to do up throw into pivot up tilt to combo fast fallers sometimes, depending on DI. But yeah, it's just like it's faster than a wave dash, right? Because wave dashing, you have to incur that 10 frames of air dodge landing lag. And pivoting, you don't. So, like, you're able to act faster. I would recommend learning it, but it's definitely not a necessity. Alright, so let's move into some of the offense-based things, namely the hit stun of this game. So, obviously there's much more hit stun in games like this than there is in Ultimate. Maybe not much more anymore. I think, Ultimate's got a pretty good amount of hit stun now. But the implications of that are very different depending on the character that you're fighting. So, floaties and fast fallers and mid fallers are all going to feel very different to combos. So that's why I have all three of these guys here. There is a reason to it. So we're going to show each of the fall speed classes what it's like to combo them. Okay, so Fleet, who is a floaty, let's say I up throw her, right? She's going to go very high, and then she exits hit stun basically like by the time she stops ascending. Now let's try that on Rano. Like, he'll sink just a little tiny bit before he exits hit stun, but he is a mid faller, so it's not like super free to follow up on him. Now Crag, on the other hand, is a fast faller, and he's a heavy, so it's gonna be really exacerbated on him. Like, if I were to up throw Crag here, he'd actually be able to tech this platform before I could even combo him. You can't see because the CPU is not DIing, but like, I can't like up throw Crag at 0% with a platform without him being able to tech, even the lower platforms. And now, oh, whoops, let me up throw him on the top platform, and you'll see that, motherfucker, get over there. Okay, so you're gonna see that when he gets up thrown, after he finishes knockback, he's actually gonna sink down a little bit, and then exit hit stun, right? And ignore the fact that I didn't sweet spot a single one of those up airs while demonstrating. Again, it's very hard for me to play and talk. But what this means, basically the implication of this, is how long you have to vertically combo each weight class in the game. And there's 10 characters. They all kind of feel a little bit different to combo. But characters like Zetter, Clarin, and Crag, who are all fast fallers, a lot of similar notes to that. Characters like Fleet and Raster, the floaties, they're similar as well. And then like Rano, Orcane, Forsburn, they're kind of the mid-fallers. And they have their own feel to how you combo them as well. So what does this mean? It basically means that the floatier the character is, the less combos you'll be able to get on them vertically. Like Fleet, I can get, if I'm lucky, like an up throw up air, and then I'm not getting that next up air. Like, she's going to be out of hit stun pretty much right after the upward trajectory of the move. Whereas Crag will still be sinking in hit stun. After taking all the vertical knockback, he will still be in hit stun going down a little bit. That allows you to like wait for them to fall a little bit and then pop them up again, and then pop them up again, and then pop them up again, right? When I was doing those up throw up air loops on Crag, like, obviously it was at a much lower percent. Let's just kill him, and I'll demonstrate it one more time. Okay, so you're gonna notice I can up throw, up air, and re-grab him, right? And then up throw, up air, right? Like, that all works. Obviously there's no DI because it's a CPU. But Fleet, I can barely even up throw, up air her. And this is on a CPU that's not acting with no DI. But I certainly can't up throw, up air, land again, and grab again, right? And I can't even do that on Rano, who's like in the middle. Like, I'd have to rise and follow him off that up air. So, yeah, basically the heavier or the faster of a faller your opponent is, the more time you're going to have for vertical combos. Now, when it comes to horizontal combos, floaties are actually quite susceptible. Like, your combo routes don't really change much. It's more based on weight than on fall speed. And even like the faster fallers can even sink to the floor when you're trying to combo them horizontally and like tech out or something like that. Whereas the floaties will still be airborne. And that actually makes like comboing heavy characters at lower percents a little bit harder, even with vertical moves. So say I had something like Rano's down throw, for example. Rano's down throw will combo a floaty at 0 because they'll get popped up and like stay in place. But on a character like Crag, for example, he'll sink to the floor and tech before Rano can go get him with anything. Right? That's just like because he is a fast faller. So you have to modify your combo game significantly based on the fall speed of your opponent's character. And then let's also talk about the fact that air dodging is not what it is in Ultimate. Right? There's no quote-unquote neutral air dodge where you keep falling. Like a neutral air dodge in this game does still freeze you in the air. It means you generally do not want to air dodge. You also don't get your air dodge back after you've been hit until you land on the ground or grab the ledge. Actually, no, I think even if you grab the ledge, you don't get it back. Oh, no, you do. Okay. Well, point being, though, air dodging is like a very, very last resort option to get on the ground. When you're getting comboed, you want to find a way to mash out or trade with your opponent. You want to save your double jump to get away from them chasing you and then disengage. You want to fall to the ledge. You know, stuff like that. Basically, air dodge is not an option in the same way. But like if you really need to and you really think your opponent will fuck up and let you get away with it, you can do it. Another good thing about air dodge in this game is that you're actionable almost immediately after. Like it has very minimal lag in this game compared to Ultimate. So it's not like the same death sentence when you directional air dodge either. But yeah, basically you cannot air dodge to the ground for free like you can in ult. And you need to be aware of that. Yeah, so that's like the important things when you're hitting and getting hit by people is like watching out for fall speed and knowing what their options out of disadvantage are going to be. So in almost all cases, it's going to be mashing. It's going to be jumping away. It's going to be resetting to ledge. So let's talk about some defense now as well. Parry is, I think, the most hallmark option in Rivals compared to Ultimate and really all the Smash games. I don't have a button set to parry. I just do it with B out of shield. But if I press them at the same time, as long as I'm pressing R first by even like the measure of a frame, that would be parry. I personally like low-key want an extra button on my controller so I can parry with a button. It's much easier to do it. But parrying has a 6-frame startup window, and then it's active for like 3 or 4 frames or something, I think. But if your opponent hits you while you're doing this, you will just crumple them or reflect their projectile, and you gain invincibility. So when and why should you parry? Basically, if you hard read an opponent pressing a button right on top of you, parry can net you massive reward, but if not, like you see, I'm in basically like a half second or more of lag. It's also good against projectiles, especially predictable ones like Fleet's Tornado, where you see I shoot the arrow, and then on a set timer, like a good amount of time afterward, the tornado will come out. Good players will often wait for that tornado, and then run up, parry it, and they get to chase Fleet down while she's invincible afterward. Same goes for any projectile, but that's just like a really easy one to read the timing of because of that delay. There are some other good times to parry. Say I'm pressuring someone's shield, right? And I know they're looking for like a shield drop aerial. I can do this and then parry right after to catch them shield drop aerialing if they're not like frame perfect or like, you know, it's not a frame tight shield drop punish. So like almost everyone will try to counter hit you in a situation like that. Parry is really good to throw in here. Shout out to Mr. R. I learned this from him like over the summer when we were playing. Very, very useful. I still don't see a lot of players do it. Another good time to parry is off a ledge dash. And I'll explain more why in the ledge section. But if you know your opponent's like going to be swinging on you at the ledge, you can ledge dash and go straight into parry. It's a time where a lot of people will press buttons. And also if someone's landing on you. So pretend this Fleet is juggling me. I'm going to try to like nair my way to the ground. As long as I don't have like a double jump or some kind of mix-up, which I guess, you know, Fleet does because of float. But, you know, if I'm like any other character and I know that they're going to press a button on my shield, while they're landing, I can parry for maximum punish, right? Like a lot of aerials landing are safe on block, and you might not even get a shield grab. But if you parry them, you get a shitload of reward, shitload of time to like charge up a smash, or even an uncharged smash, even just a grab, you know, whatever punish you want, you will generally get off of parry. And of course, as I mentioned before, for projectile spam or predictable timing projectiles, it can be really good as well. And not only do you freeze your opponent when you parry, at least when it's a melee attack, like an up-close attack, but you can also, or you also gain invincibility, which means your opponent has to respect you for like 2 full seconds. They got to run away from you and avoid engaging with you because straight up their attacks won't do anything. Another very easy thing to parry is the wind chime on this. You hear it counts down to 4. If on the 4th beat you just parry, then you don't get hit by the wind chime, and you now are the one with the advantage. So, yeah, the parry is very useful. I think like all Smash players, myself included, are a little bit behind on this compared to Rivals 1 players, especially, who are like really fucking good at parry. It's just already in their muscle memory, in their mental stack. Whereas we're playing a little bit of catch up with that, and a lot of us probably don't even have a button bound to parry, and that makes it a little slower, like hard to do on the fly. But yeah, parrying is very good in this game. Okay, another thing is buffered rolls and spot dodges out of your shield. So, little known fact, this is the only bufferable thing in Melee, or one of the only bufferable things in Melee. And it's done in the same way. Basically, if you are holding your C-stick left or right, and you enter shield, you will roll. Like, okay, I'm gonna press my C-stick right and not let go, right? So I do this F tilt, I'm still holding C-stick right. Now if I press shield, I just roll. So basically what you do this for is, say like I'm doing like any move, an aerial landing for example, and I want to spot dodge or roll right after, but I don't want to time it. I just keep holding my C-stick and my shield, and as soon as possible, I will roll. And I'll keep doing it as long as I hold my C-stick. You can do this with down for spot dodge and left or right for a roll. And basically, you won't even see the shield come up. It is buffering the action. So it's useful for, like, you know, if you want to do a quick landing aerial into spot dodge, which is a typical, like, scam pressure strat, you can do it like that. And you don't have to time it. And also, say your opponent is pressuring your shield with something like Aether shines and shit. If you don't know when the gap is and you don't want to like mistime your roll input and just be stuck there holding shield and get grabbed, you just hold left or right on your C-stick, and as soon as your character becomes actionable, you'll enter the roll. Or spot dodge, should you desire that. But for like a Aether shield pressure situation, I would say in general, roll is better. That is gonna be pretty useful to you, I will say. It's also good for like ledge dash into roll or ledge dash into spot dodge immediately, because you're already holding your trigger. So just during the air dodge landing lag, you can start holding your C-stick and you'll roll. Yeah. So a lot of applications for that if you are just nervous about timing your defensive action out of your shield when you're engaging with stuff like shield stun or whatever. And also, you can do jump by holding C-stick up and shielding. This one I think is much less useful. I only ever get this if I'm like trying to shield drop up air and I miss the shield drop. I'll just gotta fucking jump. But it is there. Yeah. So that is buffering shield actions. Next is one that a lot of people hate, which is crouch canceling. I don't know how to manipulate the dummies in this game. Let's see. Can I do it? I'm not even going to fucking bother. Oh, wait. Training menu. Behavior. Nah, I have no idea what I'm fucking doing. But, pretend I'm at a very low percent, and I am getting jabbed on the ground, right? Because the jab lacks a significant amount of knockback, someone can just crouch right through that and counter hit me. Crouch canceling is very annoying for new players who like to use like quick light hits in the neutral game, right? It feels like nothing is safe on hit. Even at higher percents, some characters and some moves can be crouch canceled. Like some characters are very good at crouch canceling, like Crag, for example, because he's heavy and a fast faller, so he resists being popped up a lot very easily, just naturally. And, you know, if you're doing like a jab on him, it almost never feels safe. So the way that you beat crouch canceling, there are two ways. One is to grab, because, you know, that takes them out of their crouch state, and the other is to spike them. And if you've ever seen like the green and yellow shockwaves around somebody who gets hit on the ground, that means they're crouch canceling. Or floor hugging, which is like, you know, even after you've been hit, you can kind of DI and SDI down to the floor and remain grounded. So yeah, basically to play around it, spike them or grab them. And if you want to make use of it, you do it when you read your opponent attacking you with something light, like say the sour spot of an aerial, or like even the multi-hits of a move like Fleet's forward air or Fleet's up tilt, like very, very easy crouch cancel bait, a lot of jabs, a lot of tilts, and the lower your percent is, the better, because it simply reduces knockback, right? And if it reduces it enough that it won't pop you off the floor, then you can just counter hit them immediately. Another defensive tip I want to give all Ultimate players is not to overshield. I notice, like, especially on platforms, Ultimate players will just instinctively hold shield, or like whenever they make a mistake, they'll hold shield. And good players are going to grab you for this. Like if I knock this Fleet onto the platform and I know she's going to like tech and hold shield, it's an easy grab, especially with the wavelength to platform grab that we talked about earlier. Like you can just be right there in a grounded state, able to grab. Yeah, major places where people do this after whiffing a move and after teching. So just be aware of that, and you can pick up a lot of free grabs, and also be aware of that habit for yourself, and don't overshield. You want to stay on the move as much as possible. You know, if you must shield when you get up on the platform, wow, her full hop really does not, is not friendly for wave landing. But you can shield drop, or you can do the buffered spot dodge or roll with your C-stick just by holding it, like we talked about. And then let's talk about DI. So combo DI is pretty much exactly the same as Ultimate. You want to hold out from anything that's not going to kill you, pretty much, with a few exceptions. Like obviously you want to mix their follow-up. You can hold in on something and make them second guess or like overshoot you, but generally you want to hold away from your opponent on their moves. Otherwise they're just going to get free follow-ups. But then survival DI is much different in this game than it is in Ultimate. So let's say I were to forward smash you in Ultimate. What direction would you hold in? Or what direction would you hold? And it would be in. The answer would be, for this Crag, would be to the right. In this game, you want to hold up. You want to hold perpendicular to the way you're getting knocked. Because the way it works in Ultimate is that you're resisting the knockback. Like you're directly making your character go the opposite way of the move knocking you. But in this game, you are shifting the angle. So you cannot shift the angle 180 degrees, right? It wouldn't change the angle, it would be reversing it. But by holding up, you have to travel so many more units of knockback to reach the blast zone going at that angle versus if you went straight out, right? So, you know, the similarity in this game is that when you're sent up, you want to hold out. Right? And it's that same concept of holding perpendicular to where you get knocked. In Ultimate, for some reason, vertical DI works like this, but horizontal DI does not. Like, holding down does not help you survive when you get hit up in Ultimate. I'm not... Maybe it does. I don't fucking know how DI works. I'll be honest. But, yeah, basically, if you get hit up, you want to hold left to right. And if you get hit left to right, you want to hold up. And there's, like, some slight variance, you know, on optimal DI. It'll be, like, a little bit up and in or a little bit out and down, depending on what you're getting hit by. But you get forward smash, for example, do not hold in, hold up, and you will live for much, much, much longer. And you can kind of figure out on a move-by-move basis, like, what exact angle to hold in. It's not always going to be straight up, but up is generally the right answer for horizontal knockback. Okay, next and last, we are going to have a section on the ledge, which I think is possibly the most different thing in Rivals versus Ultimate. So, in Ultimate, there are a few different rules. One is that when you grab the ledge, you are stuck there for like 20 frames or something, right? In this game, and in all the games with the Melee-esque engine, you are able to act much sooner. I think it's frame 8 in Melee. I don't know what it is in this game. I'm going to assume it's about frame 8. But you can get off the ledge like immediately. And this has many implications in addition to just making you actionable faster. So another thing is when you grab the ledge and let go of it in Ultimate, you lose all of your ledge invincibility. But in this game, and in Melee, and in all the games like that, you do not. You actually carry over your invincibility. So you see, I'm going to be flashing white while I'm doing this forward air, right? Flashing white while I'm doing the back air. Flashing white while I'm doing the nair. So, in this game, ledge invincibility carries over once you've let go of the ledge. And there are many things that are possible with that. Most obvious is like invincible aerials off the ledge, right? So I can make it a lot easier to return to stage. For example, ledge trapping is weaker because of this. Because if my opponent's like charging up a forward smash, I can just invincibly forward air in their face and contest them. It also is good for edge guarding. Say my opponent's trying to come back, right? I drop off the ledge with this invincible nair or back air or something, and it doesn't matter if their recovery has a hitbox, I'm going to rip right through it and hit them. Another thing is that you get your invincibility back when you regrab the ledge up to 3 times. And now I'm not going to have it anymore. But if I touch the stage, I will get it back. So, what other invincible actions can we do off the ledge? Well, one is a ledge dash. You know, honestly, that's really it, right? Ledge dash and aerials. And specials, obviously, as well. But yeah, ledge dashing and attacking off the ledge can be done invincibly. When you ledge dash, in Melee, there's what's called Gallant or Gallant, which is actionable ledge intangibility. Grounded actionable ledge intangibility. In this game, you don't have that. As soon as you touch the stage, as soon as you start a move after ledge dashing with invincibility, your invincibility expires. With one exception, which is shield. So I can, with 0 vulnerable frames, get from ledge to being on the stage in my shield. And remember how I said the ledge dash parry thing is going to come into play later? Parry is included in that. Obviously, the startup frames on parry still apply, I believe, so you'll be vulnerable for that. But yeah, ledge dash shield, ledge dash spot dodge, ledge dash roll, all very powerful actions because shield does not immediately make your ledge intangibility expire. So that's definitely something very useful. Another really important thing about the ledge in this game is that your character will not automatically snap to the ledge on the way up while recovering, which is, thank fucking God. I mean, like, I don't know why they added that in Brawl. It's really one of the things that kind of babyified Smash, is just making all recoveries very free. Like, if I was an Ultimate character, I would grab the ledge on the way up right there. In this game, that is not possible. However, it is possible if you're going down. I'm sure if you've watched any Melee, you've seen Foxes do Firefox aim down at the ledge and they'll snap to it. But if they do it up, they will not. So why is this important? Well, if your character doesn't have a way to go down toward the ledge, like Fleet, Zetter, Forsburn, you know, most of the cast does not have this option. You will have to master grabbing the ledge at the perfect height. Like if I do the non-down variant of my up B, I have to be perfectly spaced to not poke my head above the ledge. And if I do even slightly, something like a Clarin down tilt or Clarin forward smash is just popping me for free, right? Even like your double jump, for example. This is something you can practice in Ultimate, is sweet spotting the ledge with your double jump. It's a very fundamental skill in Melee. And again, all games of that nature, where you don't auto-snap the ledge on the way up. Basically grabbing the ledge at the very apex of your double jump so you don't poke your head above it. Notice I'm like actually missing it because I'm trying to exaggerate it and get it at the very latest possible time. But if there was a Clarin like spamming down tilt here, and I went even slightly above, you would see my head is going to get clipped. This is a very, very, very important skill to learn. And then once you're on the ledge, you have access to your invincibility and aerials and ledge dash and stuff, which is really good. So you want to make sure you perfect that ledge sweet spot so you can get back to the ledge and then back on the stage. So let's also talk about what to and not to do off the ledge. What you don't want to do is, if you're an ultimate player, you're probably looking for a lot of this. A lot of neutral getup. Don't fucking do that shit. In this game, it's pretty bad. It's a far cry from ultimate where like you only have 1 frame to punish it. It affords you like no offensive advantage. And it's slow, right? It's on like a set timer. Whereas if you're just grabbing and letting go of the ledge, you act much faster. Ledge jump is actually like kind of good in this game. It's not the quote-unquote tournament winner, the ironically named ledge jump in Melee, which is so shit that, like, you know, it only ever comes out by mistake usually and it can cost you a game because it's just a free hit. It's much better than that. It's like actionable quite quickly. But the thing is, you have no actionable intangibility with it. And by that, I mean time where I'm invincible and doing a move like this or like a ledge dash, right? So all the like pre-baked into the game ledge options, which are get up attack, neutral get up, jump, and roll, and I guess special get up in this game, they're all kind of bad. The special get ups definitely have their place. You know, you can use them as a mix up. Get up attack has its place as a mix up and also as an edge guarding tool. Like if my opponent is behind me recovering to the left side, I can get up attack, and it has a backward hitbox that will actually send them backward. So it could be really useful for that. Or like if they're just charging a smash attack, you know, this is the easiest guaranteed way to beat it, but you can also just invincible forward air them. So get up attacks have a place, but you generally don't want to be doing them off the ledge. And you definitely don't want to neutral get up like you would in Ultimate, at least. It's not like the default safe thing. Same with ledge jump, but ledge jump, you know, it has good invincibility, it's actionable pretty fast, and it carries you pretty far. However, your main go-to ledge options will always be, almost always be, invincible aerial and ledge dash. I can think of few exceptions where I would voluntarily want to do something other than these off the ledge. Just gets you in a better position. Just they're faster, they're harder to read, they're harder to cover, and yeah. So, yeah, just get used to learning how to ledge dash and invincible aerial off the ledge. You want to just get used to that timing as well, like letting go of the ledge as quickly as possible. You don't have that 20 frame, like, stop and think about it moment like you do in Ultimate. It's very fast, which can also make ledge trapping difficult. I'll talk about that more in a bit. And then, to ledge dash, the best way I could explain it, if you want to get that juicy, full max distance waveland, or ledge dash rather, the inputs I'm doing are left, right, jump, shield. So it's almost like, on the stage, the equivalent would be like a short dash dance into a wave dash, right? This is what it would look like on stage. If you want to practice it like this, it could be a little easier than doing it on the ledge where you have to like deal with the spaghetti of like re-grabbing it and shit and all that. But basically, left, or I'll go back to this side because that's how I was explaining it. Left to drop off the ledge. Immediately press right to start drifting onto the stage, right? And then jump shield to do your double jump. And once you've risen far enough, the shield will turn into an air dodge forward onto the stage. So in Melee, you have to air dodge down forward to get a ledge dash. In this game, you don't want to do that because you get much less distance. Like, I'm sure there's situations where you only want to travel the, like, abbreviated distance. But you can just go straight to the right, much like wave landing on a platform or wave dashing on the stage, right? Like, the down forward one has significantly less range, but the straight forward one, you'll slide real nice and far. So, left, right, jump, shield. Then over here, right, left, jump, shield. Yeah, so that's ledge dashing and invincible aerials off shield. They're off ledge. They're very useful. They're better than the pre-baked into the game ledge options by a long shot. When you're doing the invincible aerials, remember you can do them falling as well by pressing away or down. I'm trash. And then also another thing worth pointing out, this is called a hack stash. So remember how I said you get your invincibility back 3 times before touching the floor? Or like you get ledge invincibility 3 times before touching the floor. Hack stashing you can do with like You might even be able to do this fully invincible. My execution obviously is not perfect. Yeah, but no, it looks like she's not invincible for part of this. Basically, to hack dash, you do a ledge dash, drop, so left, right to start moving onto the stage, and then you're gonna air dodge down back to slide off the stage. You have to do down back because you'll still be above the stage. So if you just did straight back, it would look like that. But yeah, so this not only allows you to get all 3 of your invincible ledge grabs back, but it's also just tricky, right? Like if my opponent is sitting like where Crag is, here, come here, buddy. Place me. Yeah, if he's sitting like right here and he's looking for me to say ledge dash shield so he can grab me, or like swinging attacks to hit my, like the end of my invincibility expiring, I can just kind of fade him out and then I get my invincibility back. Even if it's not to re-grab the ledge several times, it's just to pop back on the stage with that invincibility again. So hack stashing can be very useful. It's mostly just like a sleight of hand thing, a little mind game. Okay, speaking of refreshing the ledge, this is really apparent with characters like Rano, but when you're edge guarding people, you obviously want to do it with the aid of invincibility as much as possible. So refreshing the ledge to get your invincibility back is very important. If you watch Leffen's Rano, you'll see, you know, I don't need to be fleet anymore. I'll just show you myself with Rano. He is probably the easiest one in the game. I've never done it before, so bear with me. But, okay, so I'm going to grab the ledge, and then I'm going to drop off and do the tongue. Oh, wow, there's actually a cooldown on it, I think. Yeah, so basically, because I'm letting go of the ledge immediately and side being back to it immediately, there's like no gap in my invincibility frames here. Pardon my my Rano's shit movement. I'm not good with this character. I'd never play him. But there's other ways I can do that. Like if I have the bubble out. I don't know how they do it. Okay, so you drop off, double jump, bubble. Drop off, double jump, bubble. Yeah. Basically, doing actions that like leave you right at the ledge again, that are fast enough that there's no gap, allows you to like invincible refresh, and then with that I can go for, you know, invincible aerials and shit. I'm certainly no Leffen with this character. So. But like one important takeaway from Leffen's gameplay is his use of the invincible bear over and over again, and he'll do these ledge refreshes to throw out invincible bears repeatedly over and over again. Your character can do shit like that too. I guarantee, almost no matter who it is. Like Crag can do his up B, and the pillar won't come out. Just like do the little hop thing and refresh the ledge. Let me try it with him. It might be very obvious as well. This one's probably just down up B, down up B. Yeah, this is for babies. This is so easy. And obviously after 3, like I won't have invincibility anymore. But yeah, super important. So you want to use that in your edge guarding game to be able to use invincible aerials instead of regular aerials that can be traded with off stage. This also helps you set up a ledge hog. Say you just want to ledge hog your opponent, right? But I'm not sure when they're coming back to the stage, right? Like I'm not sure when their up B is going to be. So I just drop off up B, drop off up B. I stay invincible this whole time if I do it fast enough. So bad with this shit. Okay. Whatever. You get the point though, I would hope. Basically, grab ledge, invincible regrab, invincible regrab. And then, when they're actually about to cross the ledge, that's when I roll or stand up or get off the ledge. For that extra last bit of invincibility. When you're edge hogging somebody, by the way, the entirety of your roll animation, or most of it, counts as a ledge hog. Same goes for get up attack and neutral get up. So yeah, use that to your advantage. You want to make sure that when you're ledge hogging your opponent, you have invincibility, which makes stuff like hack stashing to like gain invincibility and potentially like dodge their up B really important. And of course those refreshes. I can't do it on the other side for some reason. But yeah, use those refreshes to aid in your edge hogging game. You want to know when your opponent is dead to an edge hog and when they're not. Sometimes they'll try to stall to wait out your ledge invincibility, but again, that's where the refreshes and stuff like hack stashing come in to just like, you know, make it as forgiving as possible for yourself. And the last thing I want to talk about is ledge trapping. So ledge trapping is not as much of a thing in this game as it is in Ultimate because you have these invincible aerials and invincible ledge dash, right? So you can't just like sit there and like charge a forward smash hoping to hard read a neutral getup or something like that, like because that just gets blown up by this invincible aerial for free every single time, right? So the way that you do ledge trap in this game is from like a bit more of a respectful distance, like say we're like more like where Fleet or Rano is, as opposed to like right here, where I would, in Ultimate, be trying to cover roll, neutral get up, and jump all at the same time, right? In this game, they're going to do something like an invincible aerial or an invincible ledge dash. So I want to back up here, where like if they're reaching me, their invincibility has already expired. And that's where I can like throw out a forward air or something like that and punish them once they become vulnerable. And yeah, I mean, just people get off the ledge much more for free in this game than they do in Ultimate. Like, it's harder to recover, but the trade-off is that it's easier to get back from the ledge to the stage if they're good and have clean execution and understand how their ledge invincibility works. So just don't expect ledge trapping to be as much of a part of the game as it is in Ultimate. You can still do a lot of ledge trapping stuff, especially because a lot of these characters have crazy setups, like Maple's Plant and Fleet's Tornado and stuff like that, just like long active hitboxes that can cover ledge options. But, yeah, you just got to do it from a more respectable distance or a more respectful distance, and wait out that ledge invincibility and make sure that you're not like immediately swinging like right here or something like you would in ult. Like even like a Diddy Kong ledge hop bearing can blow you up for this in ult, but like in this game he'll be invincible when he's doing it, right? So like look, I'm flashing white the whole time, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to trifle with me until I've either landed, or if I'm a floatier character, like for the very end of my forward air is when I'm going to be vulnerable. Just stay far away and punish later. But yeah, that's going to do it. I don't want to make this guide too long, especially, again, because it's not edited. But that is my crash course on Rivals 2 for Ultimate players. I'm sure I definitely missed stuff. Feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm kind of down to make a follow-up to this in the future. But I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, send this to a friend of yours that's an Ultimate player picking up Rivals 2 if you want to help them get better. Thanks. Peace.